The New York Jets, guys. The New York Jets. They've had, I think it's safe to say that pretty much every team has had an interesting season, but, the Jets, if we're kind of backtracking here, much like we do with a lot of things, the Jets last year just did not have a very good season. I want to say it was Robert Saleh's first season last year, and coming into this season, I think there was a very large assumption that they weren't going to be anything this season either. And the way that things started out for the Jets, it was looking like that. It was looking like it was treading in that direction. And Robert Saleh kind of had a soundbite. Well, not kind of. He had a soundbite that everyone latched onto, which was they're keeping receipts. They're keeping receipts, as in our best days are ahead of us. They're not behind us. Fully expect us to be in conversations in terms of relevancy and winning games and being a good football team. I think that's the best way to say it. And so everyone just kind of laughed at him, right? Everyone was just like, receipts. What are those as it pertains to the New York Jets? Are you kidding me? Well, the New York Jets, guys, they were on a little win streak. They were on very much of a win streak. They're 6-4 right now, as far as their record goes. Unfortunately, they are tied with the New England Patriots record-wise, but chat, because they lost to the New England Patriots, which I believe is twice now, this season, they're at the bottom of the division. Yikes. They are at the bottom of the division right now. Simply because they lost to New England twice. And I believe I saw and I believe I heard that the New England Patriots have beaten the Jets like a total of like 14 times straight or something like that. Which is wild. Which is wild. It's not unbelievable, but that's definitely wild, especially considering how the Jets looked like they were starting to turn some things on. But we're gonna stick with the Jets and Patriots specifically because of Sunday, the last time they played. Oh, I knew they were coming, and Rowdy was the first one to bring him in. The moms don't think Zach is whack. Yeah, I definitely knew that was coming at some point. And what is going on with my feature chat? I swear I can never do streams now without having some type of technical difficulty. So the feature chat that I typically have, Lady K in the house, what's good? Oh, Devil Doc, you're gonna want to stay, man. You're gonna want to stay. I got some words. I got some words today. Tammy, what is good, Tammy? Look at all my people rolling in. So you guys know how I typically have that feature to where I show your chat on stream. Well, for whatever reason, it's not acting right. So now I don't know that I'm going to be able to show that today. But that's all right. We keep it moving. We keep it pushing. So, the Jets just really lost in a not very good fashion on Sunday. It was an ugly game to begin with. It was a very low-scoring game. If we're just being completely honest, it was a very low-scoring game, and it literally went down to the New England Patriots scoring I believe it was I think it was a punt return. I can't remember if it was a punt return or a kick return for a touchdown in the last seconds of the game. Like, there was literally no time on the clock. From a stat standpoint, it was terrible. The Jets had a total of, not only did the Jets have a total of 10 punts within the second half, or was it the second half or the entire game? It might have been the entire game. A total of 10 punts, right? Zach Wilson, chat, only had 9 completions. 9. It was a punt return? All right, thank you, Lil James. 9 completions. That's not good. That's not good. That's not NFL worthy. And that's not the type of performance that you want to be known for having, right? Now, I get it. I understand. I get it. I understand. Sometimes you're going to have days, sometimes you're going to have games that are just not good. Like you're going to have games in which you're just not playing your best. But the important thing from that, right? And I'm sure some of you guys know where I'm going with this. The important thing from that is that you, first and foremost, take accountability, right? You take accountability, you take responsibility within that accountability, and you grow from that. You say, hey, this isn't where I want to be. I don't like the way this feels. I don't like the way I performed. I've got to do better. Not only do I have to do better for myself, but I've got to do better for my team, right? I've got to do better for my team. And what's going on, Dinos? There was absolute zero accountability taken by Zach Wilson. And I don't know if you guys saw the course of events, but, you know, it doesn't take a genius to see when players aren't playing right. And, you know, I know that there's a love-hate relationship when it comes to players, coaches, versus the media. But, I mean, come on. Any Joe Schmo that's sitting on the couch watching a football game, seeing a quarterback struggling, you say, hey, we've got to make, like, something's got to give, bro. Like, something's got to give. You've got to make a change. In the words of our great Herm Edwards, who's now back on ESPN, you play to win the game. You don't play to just be out there to play. I mean, there's a lot at stake. Your season is at stake. Your fandom is your fans. The amount of money that your fans spend is at stake. Like, there's just a lot. There's just a lot that's involved outside of just quote unquote football operations. And Robert Saleh was asked at the end of the game if he was going to make a quarterback change, and he said no. He, in many ways, pretty much said no. It hasn't crossed his mind. In fact, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm pretty sure he said, like, a quarterback change hasn't crossed his mind, and Zach Wilson is his guy, and I don't know. There was just so many things wrong with that press conference. Like, he said they played like dog shit, right? He said they played like dog shit, but then when the quarterback question came up, it was, yeah, I'm not gonna make any changes. Well, I don't know if any of you saw, but yesterday he had a bit of change of a tune. His tone on that changed. And he basically said that he's not committed to Zach Wilson being QB1 going into week 12. So it's amazing. It's amazing what a course of 24 hours can do. And his tone and his tune definitely changed. But here's what I didn't like. Here's what I didn't like. On Sunday after the game, when Zach Wilson was doing his press conference, okay? The question was asked, do you feel like you let your defense down? Do you feel like, as a quarterback, as someone who is a captain, as someone who's a captain, as someone who's a leader of this team, as someone who is supposed to embody leadership, do you feel like you let your defense down? He said no. No. I mean, and he was so quick with the response too. It was just like, no. No. Like, it was as if he just didn't have time for the question. It was as if he felt like that question was disrespectful. It was as if he was looking for someone else to ask another question because he was just so beyond that question even being asked in the first place. That's not somebody I want on my team. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. That's not somebody I want on my team. All right, let me catch up on chat here. Dolphins on top. The Jets averaged what? Less than 3 inches on offense per drive in the second half. 2.6 average yards average. His team's is not happy with him. No, they're not happy with him. Yeah, caught the ball in completion and reception. His tone changed after Wilson answered the question the way that he did. Hard to make good football decisions when you're stressing if you have a job or not. The GM, not the quarterback. For sure. In his defense, he's still super young, and the Jets organization doesn't have a good. But again, you have to. I know. I can see that being a justification in some instances, and as far as being young. But when are we going to graduate from that? Like, you're the quarterback, bro. You're not just some second string that's taking the place of the first string because the first string is hurt. Like, they are relying on you as the leader of this football team to take this team on your shoulders and march down that field and give it all you got. You know, you're gonna win some and you lose and you're gonna lose, but give it all you got. Like, I'm sorry, but that response of just saying no is just like, well, you know, even though I played the way that I played, you know, it's still not my fault. I don't know what happened. You know, I mean, the defense didn't do what they were supposed to do neither. So no, I don't feel like I let them down. I don't feel like I let them down. You know? And what's crazy is these guys make so much money. They have PR people on their team. They have PR people on their team that are coaching them on what to say and what not to say. You're telling me that no one taught you to take responsibility for something when it doesn't go when things don't go the way that you want them to go, and you were a part of that? Like, it would be different if, like, he didn't play at all. It would be completely different if homeboy didn't play at all and he just happened to be at the podium and he was asked the question. You know, it would be different if that was the situation, but that's not what happened. He was on the starting roster. Active in all caps. ACTIVE. Okay? Active. You played the whole game. I mean, the kid could have said something as, mistakes were made on both sides of the ball. We just didn't play our best. Like, there was just so many other ways in which that question could have been answered. But for you to just say no? No? Like, what? Is there a benefit of the doubt here outside of age that I should be giving this man? I was never high on him in college outside to begin with, to be honest. And imagine the Steelers lost to this team in the dying seconds makes me sick. Oh, we gonna get to it. we gonna get to it, Double Doc. We gonna get to it. We gonna get to it. By the way, I got something funny. I've been thinking about adding another element of content. So my mom is, you know, really much all of my Steelers fandom comes from my mom's side of the family, and I thought about having like a Mama Joyce rant Monday or something like that for like every time that we don't play well. Like, I just record my mom just going off on the Steelers and like making a video out of it. What do you guys think about that? I'm trying to convince her, like, hey mom, come on, this is for the content. Like, you're a part of the community now. Everyone knows you as Mama Joyce. Like, come on, like this would be perfect. And plus with the season that we're having, perfect. This would be insanely perfect. I'm trying to get it to happen. I'm still working on it. But yeah, back to, because we'll get to the Steelers. Trust me. Don't you worry. All right. Don't you worry. We'll get to the Steelers. But if we are going to factor in age, if we are going to factor in someone being young, and if we're going to factor in someone pretty much just being a spoiled brat, he's got some growing to do. He's got some serious growing to do. Like, bro, this ain't college, right? This ain't college. You ain't going back to your campus dorm. Like, you are a professional now. This is the National Football League. You are a professional football player. This is your job, okay? You get paid to play at a certain level. Again, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But when you have the game that the New York Jets had, and you take zero accountability and zero responsibility for your actions, I mean, imagine, chat. I mean, let's just break this down, right? Like, let's just break this down. Let's say that you graduate from college, top of your class, you get this amazing new job straight out of college. It's for a Fortune 500 company, okay? You're making anywhere between $60,000 to $80,000 a year. Mind you, this is your first job out of college, right? You're making some pretty nice money at this job. And let's say that you are involved in a team project, right? And within this team project, you're just not performing at the level in which you were hired to perform, right? You're not returning emails. You're not, contributing the way that people would expect you to contribute. And then when it comes time to present this to whoever you're presenting this to, whether it be a VP or an entire team or an entire organization, y'all just look a hot mess, man. Y'all just look a mess. And then when you get asked about if you felt like, knowing that you didn't contribute as much as you should have contributed, knowing that you didn't contribute to the level in which you are being paid mightily to contribute, when asked by that VP if you felt like you let your team down, and you say no, that's the equivalent. We gotta stop putting these kids and we gotta stop putting these football players on this pedestal and making excuses for them. Okay? Regardless of whether it's for fun, regardless of whether it's entertainment or not, they are getting paid to do a job. Like, if we're just looking at it black and white, guys, they are getting paid to do a job. Okay? Now, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. The situation would be entirely different for that individual that is working at that Fortune 500 company, making what they're making straight out of college, and then they turn around and take zero responsibility and accountability for not being a good teammate on a project. They're gonna get a warning. They might even bring HR into the mix and put something in their file and say, hey, if you don't perform at a better level from here on out, and I'm gonna tell y'all don't want that HR file form. Like, you don't. And to be honest with you, if you do get some type of demerit or you do get something put on file in HR, I'm gonna keep it a buck. You need to be looking for another job. You need to be looking for another job, because all it takes is one more situation. All it takes is one more situation. And it could be anything. That's the crazy thing about it. It could be anything. It could be, they could literally just find something to pin on you and then go back and say, well, they already had this one demerit, or they already had this one, warning on file, so it's no surprise. I've seen this happen, chat. I've seen this happen in real life, okay? It's no surprise that this individual, known good and doggone well, they might not have been involved in that situation, but because they already had a strike, that's all they needed in their file to say, you're freaking out of here. Yes, your failures are super magnified. So that's why I don't give these guys a break. Because if we're talking about a completely different profession, chat, that's what's happening. So Robert Saleh, if you're out there, I know that my stream and my community is the last thing that you would even be on your mind, but listen to me, guy. You gotta sit this kid down. As my grandma would say, a hard head makes a soft behind. He needs to sit down. He needs to sit down. He needs to think about what happened on Sunday. He needs to think about his gameplay being bad, okay? He needs to think about his response during that press conference. And he needs to think about how he's going to be a better teammate how he's going to be a better leader. Entitlement from Zach. I mean, listen, Lady K, where did Zach Wilson? Just that quickly, I forgot. Where did he go to college? Isn't he a Trojan horse? Isn't he a USC boy? Boom. Even worse, bro. Even worse. BYU. Mormontown. Yeah, I know. I was way off on that. I knew he was a West Coaster. I knew that he was a West Coaster. BYU. It was an accident. It was an accident. BYU. Yeah, that's another topic for another day. Although I will say that BYU has a phenomenal dance team. They have a phenomenal dance team. They go to championships every year, and they just be taking trophies left and right just because their dance team is phenomenal. Now I'm gonna keep it a buck. You know, I wish there were some girls on that team that looked a little bit more like me. You know, I wish they would sprinkle in a little bit more of me around on that dance team. But again, like I said, that's a different topic for a different day. So when y'all said BYU, that told me everything I needed to know. Okay. Meanwhile, Siri, that told me that BYU told me everything I needed to know about the kid. But Giro, you're right. I think it has everything to do with entitlement. I think it has everything to do with entitlement. There are, unfortunately, chat, we live in a world where a lot of people never get told that what they're doing is wrong, even though it's wrong. Never have to be held accountable for anything. Never have to be responsible for anything. And then when they're out of their comfort zone and when they're in a situation in which they do have to take responsibility for something and do have to be accountable for something, they're looking at you like you're speaking French. Zach's uncle founded JetBlue, is almost a billionaire, comes from a very rich family. There we go. There we go. Hey, G-Girl, what's good? Welcome in, sis. Good to see you. Are you here for it? Oh, we on one today. We are starting with Zach Wilson, and we up in there because we went to junior college. Name that movie. I know Big Stupid knows that movie. We right in there because we went to junior college. It's uncommon for young struggling quarterback to make mistakes in the media. Or it's not uncommon for young struggling quarterbacks to make mistakes in the media. Well, this is going to be this. Listen, you're not playing for the Indianapolis Colts. You're not playing for the freaking Jacksonville Jaguars. You're not playing for the Cleveland Browns. You are playing for the New York Jets. The freaking media monster of this world. Not this country, this world. The New York media is insane. They are not taking their foot off of the pedestal. They are not giving you a break. They are on you like vultures. Like, what's good, B Parks? They are on you like vultures. Okay? Yeah, we know the Jets aren't that good of a team, but in terms of the media, like, not only do you have to win games on the football field, but you have to survive the New York media. And coming from a BYU, bro, they didn't prepare you well. They didn't prepare you well at all. They also propped him up as a savior, so I think expectations were a little unrealistic. I think every Jets quarterback gets that. I mean, we saw it with Mark Sanchez. We saw it with Sam Darnold. Honestly, I just think it's the New York media market, man. I do. I think it's the New York media market. But again, the moral of the story with this is you can't have 9 completions a whole half or a whole game. When you offensively had to punt the ball 10 times, you had 9 completions, bro. 9. And then you're gonna sit there and say, well, I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I mean, in essence, I mean, he didn't say that, but in essence say that I didn't fail my football team. I didn't fail. And then you've got your number 1 wide receiver who's frustrated to the high heavens. You know, him being drafted number 2 brought the expectations. And that's something that he should consciously know. Like, it's not rocket science what he was brought in there to do, right? I mean, I think the only person, I feel like the only situation in which you wouldn't have high expectations for a quarterback is if they came out of anywhere between the 4th round and down, right? Like, if you're a 4th round pick, unless you end up being someone like Tom Brady and you're just amazingly great, no one's expecting anything out of you. If you're drafted in the 4th round, 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever, everyone is, and you somehow make it to the 53-man roster, they're expecting you to game manage. That's it. They're not expecting you to go out there and be great, right? And if you're lucky if you do make it to the 53-man roster. You're at that point, you getting drafted in them rounds, and you made the team after training camp, you on the practice squad. You are getting paid to be on the practice squad, period. Zach Wilson ain't it. Yeah, we got a lot of ain't it's today, G-Girl. You'll see. That's so funny you said that, though, but you'll see. You'll see what I mean by that. Zach, grow up, man. I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you at all. I'm not going to take anything away from you in terms of the successes that you've had up to this point. I'm sure you've worked for it. I'm sure you've earned it. You got that terrible knee injury in preseason, and then you came back and were Mighty Mouse. And I'm not trying to be cynical. I genuinely am giving this man kudos for the successes that he's had. But when things don't go your way, of course you're going to be upset. Of course you're going to wish that things went the way that we're getting there. Of course you're going to wish that things went the way that you wanted them to go. But it takes a strong. It takes a lot to have ownership in your faults. It takes a lot to say, I messed up. And I've talked about this before. Listen, don't get this twisted, chat. I personally, and I'm going to make this about me now, I have done a lot of things wrong in my life. I've done a lot of things wrong on stream. I've done a lot of things wrong. I'm not going to sit here and make myself out to be like I'm just a complete failure. But what makes you grow as a person and what makes me grow as a person is looking at those wrongs and trying to be better for them, taking accountability and saying, Lauren, Brian, taking accountability for those wrongs and saying, you know what, I probably could have done that a lot differently. I feel terrible. For the way things went in that situation. If I could go back and change it, I would. 9 times out of 10, you can't go back and change whatever that situation is, but you can grow from it. You can learn from it. And if that situation presents itself to where you can rectify whatever that problem is, look at Dev being great, bringing in the 31 party people. Dev, thank you so much for that raid. Let me get one of my mods to shout out Dev. Dev, I was in your stream earlier. I was lurking in your stream. I want to give you the biggest congratulations for that awesome partnership with Gamers Outreach, as well as the awesome partnership with Advanced.gg. You've earned it. You deserved it. I know you've worked hard for it. I'm super happy for you. So GG's in the chat for that dude, Dev. I'm telling you, listen, we are getting Dev partner, period, point blank, case closed. Like, that's just all there is to it. What's going on, Mrs. That Dude Dev? Good to see you. Paul, welcome into the stream. Great to have you. I am Joe. What up? What's going on, Lady Chaotic? How are you? Welcome in, sis. Good to see you. Hello. We're talking football things, and we're going in on people today, chat. We're going in on people. I'm doing good. Good win last night as well, says. Hey, I appreciate that. Shrades appreciates that as well. Who knows? We'll probably see you again. in the playoffs. But thank you so much again. I truly appreciate that raid. I hope you had a fantastic stream today. Guys, if you're not following that dude Dev, please give him a follow. Amazing content creator. Has really been kicking ass with a lot of the motivational content that he's been putting out. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much again. But we're about to wrap up Zach Wilson. I literally almost said Zach Thomas. Yeah, we're not talking about the middle linebacker that played for Miami and the Cowboys. And no, not him. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson. I want to open the floor up, guys. I've been saying this for... Is there anyone that would like to come on stream and have anything to say about this? Again, we're going to be using Guest Star for this. You do not have to have a camera. All you have to do is have some form of audio. I'd really like to start getting you guys more involved in this. And again, like I said earlier in the stream, I know that I do these shows a bit early, so a lot of people at work I work a lot of nights. So this is like the best time for me to do these shows. And so, I get it if you can't do it, but I really, really, really would like to start getting people more back involved with the show, just to give your opinion, right? Just to give your opinion about whatever it is that we're talking about. But again, the moral of the story is Zach Wilson has a lot of growing up to do. I do hope that Robert Saleh does come out and benches the kid. I mean, come on, you've got to. We know what we're getting out of Joe Flacco. We know what Joe Flacco is. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. He is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But at the same time, we know that he's on the decline. And when Zach Wilson was hurt, Joe Flacco was doing work. Joe Flacco was out there doing work for the Jets. So we're not gonna downplay that. We're not gonna act like that's nothing, right? We're not gonna act like that's nothing. But Saleh says he's not committed to. Yeah. And we talked about that. He did say yesterday to the media that he's not committed to making Zach Wilson the starter. And to that point as well, Giro, if you are on record for saying that, why would you say that unless you are going to make a quarterback change? Or unless you aren't going to make a quarterback change, is what I meant to say. Like, you are making a quarterback change. Like, stop teasing us, okay? You don't say that for no reason, So now you got everybody, like, I don't know if it was to create suspense. I don't know if it was to sort of shake things up mentally for Zach Wilson, but the way I see that as you are making a quarterback change. Zach Wilson will not be playing on Sunday or whenever their next game is. I don't know. But for right now, Zach Wilson is not your starting quarterback. So I'm just waiting for him to say it. I'm just waiting for him to say it. Tips for anyone joining Guest Star: it won't default to the right mic. Make sure you check the drop-down menu. I learned it while you were doing it live. So they are still working on some things with Guest Star. It's still a work in progress. I personally have only done like both video and audio, but I would like to start getting some audio, just some audio collaborations on here too. But in time. Wilson has to gain his teammates' trust back. Yeah, like, I don't know. Take out $10,000 and take the boys to dinner or something. I don't know. But he's got to be the one to fix this, okay? If he's expecting them to come to him, he's got this thing entirely misunderstood and doesn't know how any of this works. Does not know how any of this works. I don't know if it's standing in front of the team during the team meeting and saying, I'm sorry, I should have handled things differently. Then listen, no one likes to admit when I get it. Most of the time, people don't like to admit when they're wrong, but that's what makes you grow as a person. That's what makes people gravitate to you. That's what makes people say, hey, I want somebody that I know is going to say and confess when they're wrong and grow from that. If you're just going to be a stubborn ass and say, I don't know what you're talking about, I didn't do anything wrong. If you're just going to deny, ain't nobody messing with you, bro.